Everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aisha, and you are tuning into Isha's family. Now, there's no family here with me because those kids are in bed, and my husband is playing the video game. And it is our time to relax, but I really want to share and drop this story time for y'all. I feel like I have to. My heart is telling me that I have to drop this story. Now, when I was thinking about story times to share, this did not cross my mind at all. And I'm like, you know what? This would be a great story to share, especially if it's going to be my first story time. And the story is about how I found out that I was pregnant for the third time. The third time. Okay. But in order for me to mention my third pregnancy, I would have to I'll give y'all a little backstory on my second pregnancy with my baby boy. All right, so I believe it was like 2 to 3 weeks. No, I think it was like 2 or maybe 4 weeks before I was due to have him naturally at 40 weeks. And I believe I was at my 36 weeks appointment. And at that time, it was a good pregnancy. You know, I was going to school. I was going to school in the beginning of my pregnancy, and I had already graduated. It was, cosmetology school. I was there for massage therapy. But kind of like late in my pregnancy, I ended up, having gestational diabetes. So therefore, the ultrasound technician specialist that I was seeing, she would have to monitor my gestational diabetes and everything. So here we are, we're at my appointment, and she's telling me, hey, hun, girl, you're going to have a C-section, because if you wait till your due date and you have a natural birth, I will be putting me and my baby's life in danger. And my little baby, she was like, oh, there's a chance that he may have seizures. And I didn't want that. I seen how my younger brother, my baby brother, he used to have seizures all the time, on again, off again. And I didn't want to see, that would traumatize me to see my baby having a seizure. And she was like, basically, my health will be in danger too. So I'm like, okay, that's, what we have to do to protect me and the baby, of course. So my mom was out of the room when she told me that, which I was really upset. I'm like, she could have told me when my mom was still in the room. My mom had to leave out of the room because my 2-year-old at the time was making a mess. He was just completely, he wasn't making a mess. He was just being like talking, and it was kind of distracting the doctor. So therefore, they had to get up out there. So they had the nerve to tell me, hey, you're gonna have a C-section, and then be like, oh, can you go take a stress test? Can you go in the other room and take the stress test? So my mom knew that I was going to have a C-section. We were upset. We were both upset. I remember being on the table doing my stress test, and my dad was calling me, making sure I was okay. And I was just so upset, and I was crying. I had texted my fiance to let him know. He started panicking. He was thinking that I was going to have a C-section right then and there. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So my mom had already talked to the doctor before we left out the office. But after I did my stress test, I went in the car, and I remember I opened up my car door, and my mom was driving my car, and I just pouted down in the back seat. I'm like, oh my God. And she's all like, what is it? And she said something. Now you have to watch the end of the video if you want to know what my mom says, okay? She asked me something, and I was like, huh? Like, why would you, mom? Like, my mom had been to all my doctor's appointments and everything. So what she asked me when I got in the car was just like, huh? So I responded to her, and I said, oh, no. And then she laughed, I laughed. And we went home. We ate and everything, and I didn't even think anything of it. I just left at what she said. But I'm not gonna tell y'all what she said. Oh no, what she asked me, y'all. I'm not gonna tell y'all what she asked me until later. So, a week later, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. He was 10 pounds. The recovery from the C-section, because it was my, first time ever experiencing that, it was it was rough. It was really rough, and with postpartum, all of that was really rough. The recovery for me, my experience, it was rough, but I did recover fast. I really did. I'm not even sure. Mm, I don't even know. I think I lost 7 or 10 pounds after I gave birth to him. So therefore, I felt like I was on the right track to start losing weight after I had him. He was, I'll say, he was a little difficult because when you have a new baby, you have to get to know that baby. So it was kind of like, it was kind of difficult, but I loved him. I took care of him, even if I had to stay up until like 5 o'clock in the morning to put him to sleep. But I was really sleep deprived with him. I really was. But I was so blessed to have him, and I was so blessed to have him, and I was so happy that he was healthy. But like, this boy gave me a run for my money, and he's still giving me a run for my money. He's still giving me a run for money. Somebody come get him. Come get him. But after I gave birth to this baby boy, my son, my second son, me and my husband, my mother's health started to slowly starting, I would say, decline. As during this time, for the past in 2012, we had found out that my mother was diagnosed with cancer, which I'm not gonna really mention that. I'm just gonna say that my mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2012, and right after I gave birth to my mom's second grandchild, and my second child, my mother cancer just turned for the worse. It just I can't. I want to say like slowly, but fast turned for the worse, and that was really hard for me. I was already dealing with postpartum, dealing with a new baby that was really kind of not that easy to take care of because he did cry a lot, and to be a full-time caregiver for my mom because I wasn't working at the time. I had just had a baby, and now I'm being a full-time caregiver, and I was living in my own house. My fiance had just purchased a home for me and him and our boys, and I was living in my own home. So therefore, I'm taking care of my home with my fiance, and I'm taking care of helping my dad take care of my mom's household with her because my mom was sick. And it was just like every month, April, May, June, July, it seemed like my heart was breaking. My heart was completely breaking. But and that was one of the things that my mom was worried about when I first told her that I was pregnant with my second child. I mean, she wasn't upset because at that time, me and my fiance, he was working, I was in school. We were doing the things that we needed to do for our little family. Even though we weren't living together, we were doing the things that we needed to do for our little, family before we moved in. My mom was just upset because she felt like she wasn't going to get a chance to have a relationship with her second grandchild. She wasn't going to be able to help me raise him. She even thought that she wasn't going to make it to be able to see him, be born. And I made sure my mom was in the operating room with me. She had experienced a C-section. So therefore, I wanted my mom to be there. You know, once we found out that my mom had cancer, and once she started chemo, everything, we made sure birthday parties, even little small things, even if it was just movie night, we just made sure that we were starting to we already had all those memories, but we felt like it was important to have those more. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. Just making sure that we just have those birthday parties, have those get-togethers. And we're just making sure every moment count. That's what I'm trying to say. We're trying to make sure that every moment counts. And like I said, that was one of the things that my mom was worried about when she found out I was pregnant. But she was there when he was born. She was able to hold him, take pictures of him right when he was born, and I wanted that. I knew that that's what my mom needed to do, and I'm so glad that I did that. Of course, I had to talk to my fiance about that. Him, hey, not being in the operating room, but he was still there. He understood that, that was something important. And I would have done the same thing if it was his mom. You know, but I'm really glad I did that. And one of the things that my mom always believed in, she believed in one is coming in and one is leaving out, because she witnessed that herself. I don't know if you guys get that, but I know in my community, well, I would say in my family, I would say in my family we really believe in that. We believe in one family member coming in and another one coming out. And that's what my mom strongly believed in. And then in August, um, just 5 months after I gave birth, in August, my cousin that's like a daughter to my mother, she was giving birth. She was admitted in the hospital on a Friday, and so was my mom. They were at the same hospital, the same night, and I wasn't even thinking about it then. I was just like, oh, my cousin's. Well, actually, I did. Once my auntie had called me on the phone, she was like, hey, your cousin, she's in the hospital. She's just been admitted. She's going to have the baby. And I was just like, okay. And it was like 2 hours before my auntie told me that, my mom doctor had called me and told me that my mom, it was something about my mom's, it was something about her, it was her blood work had came back, and the doctor basically said, get my mom to the hospital immediately. She actually said get my mom to the nearest hospital, but my mother's doctor, the hospital that my mother's doctor was closest to, that's the doctor's office. I mean, that's the hospital that I decided to go to. And that was the same hospital my cousin was at. And that was like a 20 minute, 30 minute, that was like a 20-minute drive. But I got there in 15 minutes that night. Um, I got there 15 minutes that night. My mother, and the baby was born, I think, early morning Saturday, or late Friday or early morning Saturday, and my mother passed away. She lost her battle to cancer on Tuesday. And like I said, I really didn't want to get into it. I just, I have to state these points. But my mother passed away Tuesday afternoon, and I felt like that's what it was. It was a new life coming in, and my mom, was leaving me. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. But my mother passed, like I said, my mother passed away Tuesday. And on Friday, I remember I was upset, as I already was upset, but I was upset because a family member of mine had brought their family member to my dad's house. And, at first I didn't care, but they started talking. They were being disrespectful. My mother had just passed away, and you're in my home. And they wasn't knowingly being disrespectful. They were just having a conversation, and I don't think they knew that they actually were. And I didn't want to go off. I didn't want to go off. I didn't want to cuss nobody out. I didn't want to be nasty, and I didn't want to be ugly. So I just decided I'm gonna walk out my mom and my dad's house. I didn't know how to. I knew how to respond to that, but I didn't want to respond in the way that I normally would. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna take my kids to the park, and I'm gonna take my babies to the park and just cool off. So I go to the park with my brother, his girlfriend at the time, my husband, and my two other siblings, and of course my two babies, and my husband, or my fiance at this. He's my husband now, but he's my fiance then. So we're swinging. He's pushing me. I'm on the swing, and all of a sudden I start feeling a little nauseous, and I didn't understand, like, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling so nausea, like I'm gonna throw up or vomit all over this playground? And then in my head, I remember on that past Sunday, before my mother passed away, my cousin, remember I told y'all my cousin gave birth to her child on early morning Saturday. And I had a few cousins come in town, and my cousin who had gave birth, that's like a daughter to my mother, she had came down to visit my mother. which nobody really couldn't have a conversation with my mom because she was, in and out. So we were just sitting there talking. And I'm thinking, my cousin was like, wonder who's pregnant now. And at that time, I couldn't even think about, I don't know who could be pregnant because I just had a baby. So, so while I'm swinging on the swing and I'm feeling nausea, that popped in my head. So I'm like, oh my goodness, please tell me I'm not pregnant. So I told my husband, I'm just gonna call him my husband because he's my husband now. But I told him, I was like, hey, we have to go to the store. We have to go to Walmart. He was like, okay, sure, babe. And at that time, he was trying to buddy me up because we were on a week break. And I had been living in my mom and my dad's house for that week when my mom passed away. So therefore, I go. So we go to Walmart and I get the pregnancy test, and they said the best results are in the morning. So I was like, I'm not even in a rush to take this pregnancy test, so I'm gonna wait in the morning, right? So I wait in the morning, I take the pregnancy test, I'm pregnant, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm pregnant. Like, what I'm gonna do with what I'm gonna do with another baby? Like, I just had a baby. My mom's not here to help me. I need her. Yeah, I have my husband, I have my siblings, my mother-in-law, but, you know, I need my mom, you know what I'm saying? So 2 weeks, I'm gonna say 2 weeks after, my mother's funeral, I had set up my doctor's appointment. My first doctor, when I went to my doctor, my OBGYN, he was just feeling on my stomach and he was like, wow, he was like, you look further along. And I didn't understand because usually when I do my pregnancy tests, I'm about 5 or 6 weeks. So that's like, so I'm thinking when I finally see the doctor, I'm like 11, maybe 11, 12 weeks when I see the doctor. Because you can't see the doctor until you're 8 weeks. So he was like, yeah, you're real further along. Like, he was like, wow, he was making it seem like I was like 5, 6 months. And I'm like, I, I don't understand. That can't be. So that was on a Friday where I saw him. And then we set up the appointment for my ultrasound, which was on a Tuesday. That morning was very emotional for me because I had dropped my kids off to my grandmother's house. And the doctor's office, my grandmother, I had to drop the kids off to my grandmother's house. And I had to head back towards where I was living to go see my doctor, go to my doctor's office. Okay. So as I'm going to the doctor's appointment, I'm just driving really slow. Once I get to the light to the doctor's office, I just started like crying because I'm like, I'm looking to my right, and usually my mom's on my right, or I'm in the back seat. And usually when I'm going to my doctor's appointment, or if I'm driving, my mom's to my right of me. And I just look to my right, and my mom's not there. And I'm going back to this doctor's office, and I'm nervous because I'm about to see my baby. I'm about to see my baby that's in my stomach. Like, it was, yeah, I had just given birth, 6 months ago. But it was super emotional for me. I get to the doctor's office. I lay down, and now every time I go to the doctor to do ultrasounds, I can never read what's on that ultrasound. I can't even read. All I see is gray. What is it? Black and white. I don't know unless they point it out. I can see the head if the head is big, but I never seen anything so clear than what I saw on that screen. I looked on that screen and I saw two holes, like two little things, and I'm just like, maybe my eyes are deceiving me. And she says, oh, well, it looks like you're pregnant with twins. And I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm happy that I'm pregnant with twins. But the thing is, see, my mom just passed away, and she always wanted twins. And I didn't know how to process that. Like, I used to think, yeah, cool, having twins is dope. Cool, awesome. It'll be fun. But I never knew that I was going to have twins. I know twins run deep in my family, but my oldest cousin had already had twins on my mom's side. So I was just like, my oldest cousin had twins. All the twins are gone. I don't know. I was just working in my head. So I feel like that was my mom. I felt like that was God. I felt like that was my ancestors giving me a gift. Because, yes, I had my babies already, my 2-year old and my newborn, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And I felt like anything could happen. I could have lost my mind from losing my mom, from experiencing all the things that I experienced with her on her journey with her cancer. If you guys have experienced it with a loved one or your parents, you guys already know, and that can be very traumatizing. So for me, just my mom passed away on Tuesday. I found out I was pregnant on Saturday. And then I found out it's twins. My mom always wanted twins, and I felt like that is a gift. That was the best gift ever. I knew, like, growing up, I always went to church. I've been baptized. I believe in God. But I believe that was God. that was a gift. That was a miracle for me. That was a miracle for me. Those twins was bought to just keep me in line. Keep me in line. I have my 2 babies, but hey, we sending you these twins to keep you in line. Because I could have lost my mind. I could have. But God, my mom, my ancestors, I believe they sent me that gift. They sent me 2 beautiful gifts. A boy and a girl. A boy and a girl. Wow. That's why when I told people this, they were like, wow, they got goosebumps. Because my mom passed away, then I found out I got twins. She always wanted twins. How is this? And like I said, that day, when I got back in the car and I pouted down, you know what mom said to me? What? You're having twins? She said, you found out you're having twins? Why would she tell me that? That day when we found out that I was going to have a C-section, and I got back in that car, and I pouted, and she said, what? You're having twins? She said, you're having twins? And I just laughed at her, and I said, no. 5 months later, after giving birth, tell me why I'm having twins. Please comment, like, subscribe. Bye.